everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be talking about Hope, A History of the Future by G.G. Kellner. So, the book follows the Denzel family. Denzel? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, Denzel family. And it starts with Joyce. She's at home, all her kids are at school, except for her daughter who's homesick. Husband's at work. She's home just, going about her business, right? And then she hears a thump in from the library. Mind you, this isn't their house, they just bought it, right? And they bought it from an eccentric person who collected a lot of different books. And in the middle of the floor is just this book. She has no recollection of ever cataloging at all. It's called, I believe it's titled Hope, A History of the Future. And it was published in the year 2200. So, yeah. History of the World. To the best of our knowledge, published 2200. Sorry. So it's from the future. And she's like, what? This can't be true, right? So from that point, we are reading what the Denzel family is reading. We're reading about Gia, Gabe, and Ruth, 3 separate individuals in the future who aren't connected to one another. And I'll say this. When I first started reading this book, it was a little hard for me to get into. And when I finished reading the book, I thought I liked it, for sure. I thought it was interesting. But as I sat down and wrote my review, and then I recorded my podcast, and now here we are, I discovered I actually really, really like this book. I initially gave it a 3-star review, and it went up to a 4. I know, spoiler alert. I'm supposed to tell you guys at the end. But I want to express why and explain why I went from liking to really, really liking the book. And I think one of the first hurdles for me was getting into the book. Joyce as a character isn't really captivating. In fact, I was kind of bored with her. I was kind of annoyed as well. She's reading this historical text from the future, and her whole just narrative sounded very stiff. It sounded very forced. It wasn't natural. And she's the only character, that bothered me, because when everyone else in the family, because they all, and this is the part that I kind of found weird, they all pick up the book and they start reading it at different points of the book instead of starting from the beginning, and I'm like, why? Who does that? It didn't really annoy me, but I didn't think about it much until after the end. I'm like, they all started reading the book at different points. Why did they do that? It's just one of those things that's in the back of my head. But Joyce was just constantly kind of annoying. And I get why Kellner did it. I understand the mentality behind it. She's trying to show the reader that Joyce is so captivated by this text, and it's so exhilarating to her that she's going back to her smoking habit, and she's forgetting to cook dinner, because those are the thoughts that come about. Where's that cigarette? I know I kicked this habit. And she's looking for a cigarette because she's getting really nervous and jittery reading this text while she's questioning the validity of it. But we don't really see her question the validity of it after she first picks up the book. It's more of just like, where's that cigarette? And her looking at the clock to be like, oh, I've got time to cook dinner. Oh, what can I put together? Some soup? Yeah, I'll put together some soup. And then going back to the book. So I get the mentality from a writing standpoint, from an author standpoint. I get it. Kellner's trying to show the reader that here's this character who's so engrossed in this text that she's forgetting to do normal things like cook dinner for her family, I just didn't like the way it was presented because it didn't feel natural. And she's the only character where it didn't feel natural. Again, I still think it's weird And that the other family members, before they all converge together to read the book together, pick up the book and start at different points. I think that's weird, but overall, it wasn't really distracting to me while I was reading it, because the other characters, when her daughter picks up the book to read it instead of just doing her homework, and when her son and her husband, when everyone else starts to pick up the book, you see the intrigue of these characters, and then you're just lost in the story of Gabe, Mia, and Ruth. Their story was incredibly captivating to me. I loved it. It was heartbreaking at times, because natural disasters, climate change, temperatures, heat waves going to the extreme, weather is hitting the extreme because of this, and you're seeing the world change and alter before these eyes, and these characters are just trying to survive, survive on a boat, survive in the forest, alone, and it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking to see them go through the things that they have to go through in order to survive. But at the end of it, there's this hope right there. And that's what I really took away from the story. And that's why I really enjoyed it, and why I went from liking it to just really, really liking it, because it shows a future full of hope. It shows a future that has learned from the mistakes who are just like, okay, we need some sort of legal document so that we do not fall into this sort of situation again, so that people across the globe are protected and taken care of. And where is it? And I think that that's incredibly interesting. And the novel itself is based on historical and legal precedents. It's not like she took things to extreme. It does show a natural, plausible, futuristic outcome, especially when you consider, the scientific developments that are going on, everything that's happening with the environment. You are seeing it come into life, and here she has an imagined universal Bill of Rights and Responsibilities, and I went through everything, and I'm like, you know what? This is great. This is, why are we not doing this right now? It shows something so completely plausible, and it does leave you, the reader, with this sense of hope, especially as you're reading these characters and what they've been through. You're just like, oh, we are so happy that their futures and their generations, their kids' futures, it's not going to be really bleak. It does leave you, the reader, with a sense of hope. It leaves you to be really thoughtful, very considerate of the world around you. And I read these Bill of Rights and Responsibilities. Like, why is this not real? It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. It is thoughtful. And I don't know why I closed the book. But just to see the way the world changed for these characters, the way they went from what our world is now to what it could be, a potential and very realistic view of the future that is not, it's not out of context. It's not imaginary. It's a hopeful rendition of what we can achieve in our future, down the line. We could do this now if we really wanted to. We don't have to wait, for the world to, go to shit. We can do this now. I don't know why we're not. So I want to read one part. It's just, I want to read it to you, but it's like really long. It's 12 articles. And it's not like they're short articles. I think maybe it's on her website, which of course I will include the author's website in the description below. So hopefully she's provided it to everyone so that we can all read it. But it's so completely plausible and wonderful, and it is based on, there's basis for it. There is historical and legal precedence for it. You know, it's not, again, it's not like it's just out of thin air. I mean, this author was very, very thoughtful. I just think using the Denzel family, I mean, I guess it was just Joyce that bugged me. I think it was just Joyce. You can clearly see that they are a plot device in order to tell the story of these three other characters in different parts in the future. Different points in the future, sorry. You clearly see that. And it's really interesting. It's well done. It's well done. But like I said, you can clearly tell that the Denzel family are really just a catalyst to telling a more important story. Are they wholly necessary? You know, I could do without them. I think they're barely there, honestly. It's really just about those three characters. So they are barely there. So I don't think they really made a difference for me personally. I don't think they made a difference for the overall storytelling about this wonderful future that came about through through suffering, honestly, through mistakes. This is a world that has learned from their mistakes and are trying to better themselves so that, you know, everyone gets a chance to live equally, you know. I mean, right here, envisions a future world of peace, justice, and verdant sustainability that could arise out of today's world crisis. Based on both scientific projections and historical and legal precedents, this novel bridges the fact-fiction divide, and will leave readers grappling with questions of destiny, responsibility, and the possibility of hope for the future. It really does. That's not, I mean, it's not an exaggerated claim. I think we can tell that by my perspective of a novel. This is a future we can all hope for. We just have to work for it. And I thought it was beautiful. You know, like I said, I went from, you know, a 3-star, you know, and then I wrote the review and I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 stars. And then I recorded my podcast and I'm like, you know what? No, it deserves a 4-star. And here I am, once again, repeating that it deserves a 4-star rating. It was thoughtful, you know, it is thought-provoking. It does really grab you as a reader and make you think about what things you can do to hopefully achieve the future that's in here. I thought it was wonderful. I liked it. I really, really liked it. I thought the pacing was really well done. It was really just the Denzel family. Again, I don't think they were 100% necessary. They really are just a plot device, but you kind of see how the future, this history text affects them, and that's how it affects you as a reader. So I did get that, you know, I do understand that. I just don't think the Denzel family was 100% necessary to the storytelling. But, you know, my opinion. In any case, like I've already said, it's a 4 rating book. It's a 4-star book. So if you want to go ahead and support the author, please remember to purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. If money's tight, check out the book from your local library. You can get ebooks from your local library, physical books, audiobooks, a whole shebang. And then just leave your own review online somewhere, social media, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your own website, you know, just leave a review. And that's another way to support the author. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with all your book loving friends. On that note, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.